Good evening. Welcome to the Walter Reed Theatre and to New Directors, New Films. My name is Gavin Smith. I'm one of the members of the selection committee for New Directors. And this is, I say this about every film I'm introducing, but this is one of my favorite films in the festival. So it was absolutely necessary for me to be here to present it. Oh, my phone is ringing. Before I introduce the director of the film, who is here, I'd like to thank the consulate, the consulate general of Argentina, who are here, and they're probably kind of angry that I botched the introduction or the thank you to them, but thank you. Because of them, we have the director of Leones here, and I guess what I want to say, without saying anything about the film, because it's a very special film, very delicate, very mesmerizing, and anything that you would say about the film would kind of spoil the surprise of it, I think. But as most of you probably know, there's been an amazing resurgence of filmmaking in Argentina in the last 15 to 20 years. And a number of great directors have become very well established. And it's really heartening in the last year or two to see a new generation of younger Argentinian filmmakers emerging. And we're showing two of them in the festival this year. In a few days' time, we'll be showing Viola by a director whose name I've completely forgotten, but it's also a great film. Right now, another of the new breed of Argentinian filmmakers you're about to meet. Please give a warm welcome to Jazmin López.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for being here. It's an honor for me of presenting the film here. I would really like to thank you, the festival, the programmers, and also the Consul of Argentina. It's a very expensive ticket, and they already paid me another one, so I'm really thankful. And for me, yeah, it's very, very special. And like he said, I don't like to say much before the film, because I managed to do a mysterious film, even though I didn't meant to. I mean, it was kind of there, but not as much as it is now. So enjoy it, and I will be here if you have any question afterwards. Thank you.
Now, I imagine at the inception of this project that the script was probably not a lot of pages, because a great deal, there's dialogue, but not a great deal of dialogue, and then everything else can be described very succinctly. But I'm curious about whether your idea for what you were going to depict was sort of the idea for it organically happened at the same time as your idea for how to execute it.
Well, actually, the script was kind of a real script. I didn't believe, never in my life, that one page would be 1 minute. I was almost against, like with a flag, like I don't believe this. But since I wrote most of the script in a kind of a residence in the Netherlands, and they asked me at least to have 2 or 3 scenes, like I started to write every little thing, like we see a leaf, we see a tree, and so I did it as an exercise, and then I end up enjoying it so much. So I finally had I don't know, I think it was 90 pages or something like this.
But did you actually show us every leaf and every tree as scripted?
Yeah, and now I'm writing a new project, and I'm realizing that like how I managed to write 90 pages about this film, because now I'm 10 and it's already almost everything there. So I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And the most surprising thing was for me, the script is almost the same as the film. There's only one thing that it's different, that actually is the very first shot. That it's supposed to be at the end, and it ended up being at the beginning. But the rest is kind of
But
Hitchcock. I don't
in
know.
terms of how you filmed it, was that something that immediately became apparent to you as you were writing?
I didn't get. I'm sorry.
In terms of how you filmed
Yeah.
the story, the use of the camera, was that something that came to you very quickly during the writing process?
Yeah. I was actually the story arrives later than the way of that I wanted to shoot. I wanted to somehow push the limits of time inside one shot, like change the experience of time, like what you these 10 minutes, maybe it feels like half an hour, or maybe it feels like 1 minute. So for me, my main concern, conceptual concern, it was that. So then the little story arrives. So it was kind of the other way around. And in the shooting was kind of, we were in this shell in a way. We were doing rehearsals all the day, and we shoot one take per day, more or less, almost.
It's about 30 takes in the film, so 30 days of shooting.
Yeah.
I'm interested also in how you work with your location, because I would imagine that unlike many films, you would have had to have spent a great deal of time in the locations to find the pathways and the settings for each of the shots. And there's a very elaborate choreography going on in some cases. And so I imagine that you must have had to spend a lot of time actually preparing the location.
Very, very difficult, because if you see this path in the other way, it was the same as nature and virgin as the same. It's not like next to it there is a road. We were in the middle of the nothing. But the most difficult thing for me, I must say, I'm sure not for the producer, they wanted the producers and everyone to know exactly where we are going to do it, because it was difficult. And for me, it took me so much time to say these three and not that one, but but it was that one. So, but they were thinking, I don't know, maybe on those moments it looked that I was a bit lost, but actually not. It was like doing a casting in a way, you know. And then preparing the path, because the camera was 60 kilograms with a big chassis. So for the guy, the operator was extremely heavy and difficult. So also this was a thing, you know, like we could do one shot also because of that. The rehearsal were with the steady, but with a video camera. And then we added this, and after this he needed 3 hours of rest.
But he must have been really, by the end of the shoot, he must have been in really good shape.
You have, we call him in the shooting like Buzz Lightyear, like the Toy Story. And actually I tried once to put this thing, and I couldn't even walk one step, you know, it's extremely heavy.
Just to finish off with the question about the setting, once you had kind of figured out where each shot would be shot, how did you then ensure that you would be able to find it again when you actually came back to shoot? I mean, did you leave like markers, or do you know what I'm saying?
It was a bit disappointing for me, because the apricons is the word for the little peaches.
Peaches.
Yeah, they're another thing, but whatever.
Apricots.
I don't know. Well, these fruits, when we came back, it wasn't there anymore. So it's totally fake, this. We put one by one. All the rest is true, but this is fake. I mean, at the beginning, I was extremely scared that this is not going to happen. But then all of the crew suddenly saw my disappointment, and they were all helping. So we like a Christmas tree or something. But also something that it really helped to get very connected to the images. And we did the sound, everything in post-production, almost everything. So the shooting was very focused on the image, and then the sound production was kind of another shooting for 6 months, dubbings and generating this world. And I have to admit that I like it was kind of an animation process in a way, like first create the image and then adding all those sounds.
It's funny because I kind of assumed that the post-production process would mean the fastest part because you've only got 30 shots to deal with.
Yeah, the producers thought the same. I think I knew. Yeah, there's especially also the matches in the 360, that there are two morphs, let's say.
Yeah.
This was a nightmare because we didn't have any lighting and any electrician in the shooting. It's also everything natural light. So to really, I don't know, it was very, very difficult then in post-production.
I have to ask you, why is the film called Leones?
Well, there's a concept that in the school in Argentina, I don't know, there must be some Argentinians here. My experience they make you read Borges and Cortázar very early, and I remember not understanding anything. But one concept was stuck in my mind forever. Is still that it's a concept of Borges that he says, like all the animals are immortal because they are not aware of their own death. And for me, being almost a child, this idea, I remember being in the park and watching this birds or seeing, this must be the same one, maybe they don't grow or something. And it's, for me, these kids, they are not aware of their own death, but I don't always this interpretation if they are dead or not. I think mine is 4 of them are dead and Isabel is still alive, but I don't think to get the film it's the only way. Well, but coming back to your question is that's why, and then Leones, because I think the lion has this youth image very much, like the force of the strength of this youth, the first youth, like being 20.
So the character of Sophia is the one character that becomes aware of her death, and she's immediately separated from the other characters and goes on her own trajectory. And I found the scene in the car where she comes to the realization incredibly moving, and it seemed almost to be the kind of the core of the film, like the most important moment. And I'm curious as to whether during the writing process there was a kind of a turning point for you, a key moment in the process of writing where you felt like you found the story.
Yeah, we worked with them, with the actor. They didn't knew anything about the script. I mean, they knew the dialogues, but they were finding out. We shot the film lineal, like from the beginning till the end. So for her, it was also very impressive to see this car this day, that 5 a.m. in the morning, she saw this car, like this truck, or grua, I don't know how to say that in English, but. And for her, it was shocking. And she was already asking me, but what? We are, like, the others are dead. What's going on with me? And so it was a bit also very, I don't know, not natural as the acting, but it happened, She was like this day after seeing this car. And when I asked her, now you have to be inside here, and inside the car was worse than outside. So it was kind of, very shocking for her, I guess. But you were asking me about when I was writing it or more in the shooting?
Well, when you were writing it, at what point did the idea kind of really click for you? Was there a moment in the writing where you found where it sort of the story revealed itself?
Yeah, it was, for me, it's even a little bit before when they are passing next to the car, the other ones, and they don't see it, and she goes directly into it. For me, it was very important to show that they cannot see it, but it's right there, the answer, or not the answer, but the question, maybe, it's there. What happened with this car? What is this car doing there? And it's the only, for me, image that it's almost inside her point of view, like 100% in her point of view, because the accident wasn't there. It's just a knowledge that becomes an image, almost as a metaphor, as a rhetoric figure, like appears there because she's already prepared to see that.
It's almost like a piece of sculpture that's just kind of landed in the middle of the forest. It's a very striking image.
It was a 35 millimeters camera and a Steadicam that it's a machine that it's used to. This is what you are asking. I'm sorry, maybe Steadicam, you know, yeah. And very heavy lenses and yeah, and the sound, like, you know, the thing that covers the chassis, so then doesn't make that much sound. Because we actually had the sound of them, but we just use it as a reference to the dubbings. I'm answering your question, or it was something else?
So the second part is why did you choose to shoot it in 35 as opposed to?
Second part of the question is why choose to shoot it in 35 millimeter?
Well, I'm still a believer of the 35, but this is not the only reason, and there's one that it's actually a problem for me now for my future, because I really feel comfortable for the idea I have a limit. Like I have 10-minute chassis, I have 3.5 minute chassis. Really makes my mind very sharp in what I want, so I have to tell from here till there in the story in these 10 minutes, so the shooting is very organized and very concrete in what I want. And in video, the things that I did, it's like I get so much distracted, so now a cloud is passing, so I want to I don't know. I'm not used to that, and it's a problem because they say it's going to disappear. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is the reason.
Were there any particular shots where you did an enormous number of takes? What was the most, I guess?
I remember very well the list, that it was the car one with the rain. The producer told me, you have one, and you have one, and that's it. I mean, they were the bonfire guys, which is the name. They are as a part of the shooting with handies, and the light was going, and without sunset, the DOP was saying there's not rain, actually, because you have to have the light to really see the rain. The car was extremely I don't know, like, and it was one. But I cannot explain how much stress it was this day. And the more actually is the second one, I think it's one of the longest one in the first, when we see for the first time the other 4. This one we had like 3, and I think it's the most.
So 3 was the most. That's a pretty good shooting ratio.
Well, it's the main thing of the film. I think the story, it's very small. Yeah, for me, this difficulty, it was very, very physical shooting, like very, so much body onto it, so much human energy. It gives some, how do you explain that? Some transcendency, something that it was beyond all of us. We were already, like, I'm a very big fan of Fitzcarraldo, and I'm not saying that there's an ocean between this and Fitzcarraldo, but for me it's like this experience, it's there in the film in a way, all our experience of all this tiredness and this difficult, especially the most difficult thing, it was to get all the equipment into this is up in a mountain, really, 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 really up. So yeah, I don't know, I have this belief that all these things change. They are in every little frame, in a way. But the preparation, maybe I'm saying something different as you asked me. The preparation was, scouting, a lot of scouting, but then the nature Actually, I was amazed how it changed every day. When you are there living, it's like from one week to the other, it's already something else. So actually, the other thing that is different as a script is the flowers. One Sunday, all these flowers appear from one day to the other, and I promise you, it was the free day, and I said, no, I have to do something with this. And yeah. It came after, in the editing. This was almost by chance. I was listening to this one night, and suddenly I realized it's very connected. And before, it was a song that it was very explaining so much. It was a song that says, how does it feel to be dead? And somehow, maybe at that moment, already in the editing, I was maybe more free of, the story was already told, I think. So maybe this second chance and it's added something else and not repeat what it was already there. But it was very difficult to get this song, the rights. Two of them are actors. One of them is very well known in Buenos Aires as the under theater, or even in films as well, that it's Arturo. And I think it's really, I feel that it's the actor. And Isabel is just the girlfriend of a friend of mine. And yeah, it was people that I knew. But anyways, we did a casting for 3 months. It's actually in trying to have the combination, because for me they are not persons, they are not people, it's more like let's say one personality splits in 5 functions in a way. So for me it was really important to them to fit to each other. Well, I think in any film it's important to fit, but since they are not the typical character, it was 3 months of doing this with this or that with that and like this. And then they didn't knew the story. This was the main thing, I think.
So when did the others find out what had happened?
Well, in the car they started to be so I don't know, almost annoyed, like what happened, and since it was the lineal shooting, I said, okay, well, this happened, and because there were only 2 or 3 shots left. But at that moment, I think they didn't really get what I was talking. It felt so conceptual, even for the crew. It was very difficult for me to transmit what I wanted before. I think for them it was very abstract and not really, I don't know. I don't think it's the 6th character. It's more like the conscious of everyone, and especially Isabel's one. But it's not just her point of view, because I think that the point of view of the narration, it's kind of infecting all these camera movements and this knowledge. The knowledge is this sense. I think it's very Hitchcock, these meaningful movements, the camera knowing more, but also I think it represents when there's something in front of your eyes and you cannot really see it, but it's there and it's there and it's there and it's insisting. I think it's more this rather than a new character, or it's more a conscious of everyone, of hers, of the narration, kind of a puzzle of all these knowledge. Like a society works, there's this knowledge that we all share, but then it's from nobody, but it's, I don't know if I'm answering your question, doing my best. I can tell you that the producers hate it so much that a lot of people hate it so much. but I love it.
They missed the trees. Is that they wanted more trees?
Maybe-
Hadn't had
Maybe
enough?
they missed the green, no? No, and also I can tell you that it was extremely difficult to do it. The wind and it was a Steadicam with this kind of machine with wheels that, well, yeah, crazy. And it's another, it's the only thing that it's not in the location, in the main everything was done in one location, and this, it was somewhere else. It's a place that I grew up with my cousin that it's around here. And we were, yeah, I know this place very well, and for me it's a bit personal, maybe.
Okay, well, many thanks, Jazmin López.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.